trago y sabes que me pongo bellaco. No somos nada, pero estamos envueltos hace rato. WhatsApp sin el retrato, no guarda mi contacto, pero se la saco. 2 tragos y sabes que me pongo bellaco. No somos nada, pero estamos envueltos hace rato. WhatsApp sin el retrato, no guarda mi contacto. Todo underwater, baby.
What's good? What's good? What's good, Jordan? How you feeling, bro?
What's good, man? I'm feeling good. My dog is feeling good too. He says what's up. What's going on,
Hey.
Coda?
What's up, Coda? Long time no see, bud.
Yeah.
Dude, I took my dog to the city on the train for the first time ever. She did so good, man. I'm so proud. I feel like this is what it's like to have to be a parent.
Taking your kid out in the wild and be like, look at my kid, look at how well behaved it is.
Yeah. Look, everyone's giving you like, oh, she's so good. I'm like, yeah, I'm a good dad.
Yeah, of course you are. Yeah. Do we gotta have Naz and Coda run around together? They haven't played together since they're probably 30, 40 pounds.
Yeah. They were tiny puppies, tiny puppies.
How much does Naz weigh now?
She's 67 pounds.
No way, that's it?
Yeah.
Bro, Coda's pushing 80.
Damn.
Like, he doesn't look it either. That's the crazy part. Like, he's long, but like he is solid. He's solid. We don't want to mess with that guy.
Yeah, we wouldn't know. But the vet told me that she needed to lose weight. I'm like, no, she's just muscular. Like, she's not like fat. She's just.
I thought she'd be more, bro. Like Coda, 80, 90, I don't know, 100 pounds.
No, bro, that'd be scary. I wouldn't be able to put that scary ass dog like that. Oh man, dude, Bad Bunny's album dropped. Shout out Bad Bunny for hosting the intro today. Did you catch the album yet?
I have not listened to it. Have you?
Yeah, I've been jamming to it this morning.
First impressions?
Solid. Very, very solid. There's definitely the Perreo Intenso fully activated for the summer, for sure.
Of course, for summer. Yeah, he's smart. He dropped that album right in time.
Yeah.
Summer vibes.
Yeah. It was good. How was your week, bro? How was your trading week?
It was good. I broke my trading plan.
Hey.
But it was good. I journaled it. It was like a lesson. I was experimenting this week with some new methods and strategies because I've been missing a lot of moves. I've been like watching them, analyzing them, but just not being able to execute, not being able to get in. So I was being a little more aggressive this week, documenting it all. Took some losses, but overall, I'm glad I did that. Journaled it, and excited to just get more data on some newer things I'm working on. So it's been a good week. How about yours?
It was I got clapped.
Yeah. FOMC or before that?
No, before that. Actually, yeah. Monday and Tuesday were just bad. They were just bad. I trade mainly indices in the morning, and so my thing is like I think I get too excited too early in the week. That was my reflection for this week. This morning I didn't trade, and I was just reflecting. I was watching the market, but I was just reflecting on like my decisions throughout the week, and I think that was one of them. I was just like, I get too eager in the beginning of the week, where I feel almost overconfident, and it causes very, very, very avoidable mistakes.
Right, dude. I struggle with being like in the middle, because with me, I think maybe you relate to this, maybe not, but I was looking at my journal. I took 4 trades in the past 4 weeks, right? And I'm like, okay, like I was being very conservative, right? And so I find myself either like that, where I'm like not taking enough trades, I'm like holding myself back, versus then to this week, bro, I took 4 trades in one day. So it's like I find myself being on both sides of the spectrum. It's like trying to like narrow that in though, and balance it in, hone it in. That's always the work in progress, because it's like you understand the conservative side, understand the aggressive side, and just learning the checks and balances of each, and what's appropriate and what time, because sometimes it's appropriate to be aggressive, and sometimes it's more appropriate to be conservative. Just like finding that balance.
Yeah, there was something that I feel like I had to overhear this past couple of days. I've been hanging out with Mike and Nancy. I've had the blessing of their presence, and Nancy was like super diving deep into like when somebody starts trading, the number one thing that they need to focus on is capital preservation. and then risk reward. And I think that that's like so overlooked, that it's trading is like everybody wants to make money in trading or in investing in general, but it's like they're the preservation of the capital. This morning I was talking to a doctor who's been trading options, he said, for a year and a half, or something like that, but he hasn't made any money. And as a matter of fact, it's been losing money, and it's because everybody's just looking to make and make and make and make, and they forget the preserve side of it. And I feel like I'm guilty of that too, where I've came into the week or into the month or into the quarter like, let's go, I'm about to crush it.
Yeah.
And because of that overexcitement, I actually go backwards instead of going forwards. Yeah, I need to work more on the psychology, emotion, less emotion
That's why I
aspect of
love
it.
trading though, because it brings all these things up in you, like your discipline, like your eagerness, like your go getting, like how do you face obstacles? How do you face defeat? Like what is your coming back with that? You're gonna come back there with like, I'm gonna get it now, or you can take the step back, analyze, like redecide, like reapproach, and like I think with trading, yeah, it's always that thing with money that is like, especially when you're around other people,
Yeah.
that adds another dynamic to it that makes it a way more difficult. Because let's be real, I mean, 1.5 years of trading for that guy that you're talking about with no profits, that's I'd say that's normal, like for the average person. Not everybody's Mike Navrat who goes like 6 months to 0 to 100, so it's like, but I mean, let's be real, how long did it take you to make, like, would you say, to be like profitable and like, consistently profitable, like confident at least?
I mean, I was profitable the first couple of days, which was bad because I got overconfident,
Yeah.
like
But I mean, like, you know what I mean? But like, you're actually like pulling market money from the markets like consistently. Like, how long did it take you to get to that point? Because
3 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Same. Like even longer for me, maybe even like, like probably this last year was good for me for sure. This is my first good year. I've
Yeah.
been doing it for 4
Yeah.
years now. So yeah, same, 3 years. Like,
3 years.
so like, yeah, it's not a skill set that's easily acquired.
Yeah. It's easy to learn. It's hard to master.
Facts. There you go. There you go. Why
Yeah.
would you say what makes it difficult to master for you?
Emotions, man. Emotions. I tend to look at things. Um, I tend to be good at a lot of things that I start, and
Mhm,
and then I get overly confident at those things. And then
mhm,
I kind of get comfortable with whatever it is that I'm doing. And so it takes a downfall
mhm.
to it. Um, it's funny that we're mentioning this because this morning I pulled out my notebooks, my notes and journals from like 2017, 2018,
Mhm.
2019.
Classic.
And there was a couple points and like a couple, like, just like, you ever just journal, right? Just randomly when you're just like thinking about something, you got to get stuff out of your head. And I found a couple of those, and this literal conversation that we're having right now was a conversation that I was having with myself in 2017. September, I read it, September 20th, 2017. I was having this conversation of like, yo, I've been slacking because I got so confident that I've been slacking. And it was not just in trading, it was just like in life in general. It's so interesting. But that has been the hardest thing for me, is the emotional wave and the psychology being not not um not
Consistent.
like overly inspired to do well, but also not get down on myself when I'm not doing well. Trading confidence when it's at all-time highs is amazing, but it also like you
It goes
you
to the lows.
it goes way low, man. It's like
Yeah.
super, super low.
The roller coaster. Yeah, for me, same thing. I relate to that 100%. My dog's chewing a tack. I'm gonna have to grab that from him. But for me, it's like expectations, bro. Like that's the difficult thing. I think the most difficult thing for me to manage, and has been in trading, is expectations. Because same thing, with you, I profited right away in trading and instantly created expectations,
Yeah.
right? And those expectations of, okay, this is how it's gonna be. This is how much I'm gonna make at this time, and by this compound effect, this compound plan. I was the one who created that little compound journal everyone likes to show everyone. Like, because
Thanks.
I was doing that, bro. In 2017, I made that shit. Like 2018, I'm like, all right, bro, if I can do 5% like I did today, every single day, what am I gonna make? And then like I get that perfect little plan in my head of how it's gonna be and how it has to be. And then like obviously it does never goes to plan, and like just managing that and manage my expectations of that. That's been difficult for me. But learning, still learning, always learning every single day, still having breakthroughs, watching go live. especially hearing just the emotional side of trade management, risk management, and emotional management, and how to not have those highs and lows when your plan doesn't go to plan. It's like, are you gonna get all freaking bummed? Fuck the plan, it's not working anymore. It's like, because I've been there. How many different trading plans have I come up with, and then like started them, not followed through with them and stuff like that. Like that's a whole process in itself too. But yeah, I think I love where this conversation is going, because it kind of led into like what we were
facts
talking about before this, and it's like so naturally we just did it, because like when you get to those lows, I think that's the part that nobody wants to talk about when it comes to trading. Trading is awesome, right? When you're making the money, trade hits TP, Bitcoin doubles overnight. Like, it's great. The highs are amazing. And that's what's so attractive about it. I think for anybody that wants to pursue this type of work, like markets, entrepreneurship, this is the highs, right? But the highs come at the cost of some lows, right? And that's the part that nobody wants to talk about. So now I'm gonna put you on the spot, throw it back to you, man. Like, where do you want to take this with that, starting with that segue?
I think talking and addressing the lows that people have. There's been this, kind of what inspired this conversation, just to give everybody that's listening or watching like a narrative, I guess. We had talked about with Jordan and I, like before this, we're like, yo, let's talk about this. And then like 5 minutes ago, I saw a Instagram post of someone that I would say that I look up to in business or in the industry that we're in. And it's talking about mental health, like men's mental health in general. And I think it's such a sensitive topic, because going back to what I think it was on the episode that we talked about relationships, where you talked about just being vulnerable, and being vulnerable in communication was something that men in general need to work on. I think with highs come very low lows, and that's something that I've struggled with my entire life. Is I not to retell my story, right, but I come from very humble beginnings, and then got to experience very abundant life, very young. And then it's like that teeter-totter back and forth has been the biggest struggle for me, because of the all-time highs emotionally, financially, spiritually, physically, and then boom, massive drawdown, I would call it. So emotional and mental health, I think, is a very trending topic right now. I think it started with like Will Smith hitting the guy Chris Rock, right? And then what was the other guy's name? The other guy that's been trending a lot. Johnny Depp, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I think everybody struggles with it. I think everybody knows that they know that everybody gets depressed or anxious or is somewhat negative. And I think the internet and social media is a big reason why I get in my head sometimes about my lows. I find myself, I was actually telling Angie this the other day. I was like, I had to set a time limit on my Instagram, because I find myself daydreaming too much about other people's lives, meaning like, and this is being super transparent, but like I see like somebody driving a nice car, or I love jets, right? So I see people getting in and out of jets, right? And I'm like, wow, like I'm thinking like, wow, I'm going to be there one day. And yes, visualization is a big part of it, but not for hours, not to the point where you're using that as a distraction, because then it creates anxiety, because I'm comparing myself. And I think comparison is the biggest reason why people suffer mental health, like the issues. I don't know if it's an issue, but mental health issues, because you're comparing your life to other people, just like comparing trading results to somebody else. Like you say, yo, I've been trading for 6 months, I don't have any results. This guy's been trading for 2 weeks and he flipped his account. It's like, what is going on here? So then you try something different, and it actually sets you back even further. You try, let me over leverage, or let me take this trades, or let me trade NASDAQ with a $50 account, and it's just like, boom, your account goes to nothing. And it's tough, man. It's tough. I think especially for people that I think everybody, right, has social media. Everybody spends some time on social media. I think it's tough because we're in a society that consumes so much, and that consumption leads to comparison, and comparison leads to overstimulation.
Yes.
And then and then it just like fucks you up. It leads you to do nothing with that
It
overstimulation.
does, because like all this abundance of information that's out there, like so much information is out there and so much that we never had before. And this is not natural to me for our brains to have all this access to all these people's inner lives of like, I'm hanging out with this person doing this. And then you can see they're hanging out with them doing that. And then you can see they're doing that on their story. You can literally follow them around all day long if you want to. And you watch all these people's stories. And like you said, it's the comparison. And then really it's like when you start judging, because like comparison creates judgment, right? And you either it doesn't matter what you're judging somebody else. Like, wow, they got that because this, or, if you're judging other things in the world around you, guess what? You start judging yourself.
Yeah.
And like for me, that's where I know like my mental health and my depression comes in. Is like, dude, like I get in that negative tirade of judging myself. Like, and it's just like that voice inside your head that just tells you that you're not good enough, right? And we all know it's like easy in certain mental states to be like, yeah, of course, that's not real, duh. But like sometimes, yeah, you're alone, you're isolated, you're scrolling, like, bro, you don't even realize what you're doing. It's unconscious behavior because we were given these tools of great freedom and great access and great reach. Yes, you can connect with anybody in the world, develop relationships. I've used the internet and social media to great my benefit, right? But at the same time, it's like we didn't understand the negative consequences of these things. Like we were just those kids were the first people on there, like just living our lives, like communicating on there and like not realizing the downside, like you said, of being on the internet all the time, like what that can do, because it means you're not here, you're not present, you're not in this body, in this world, dude. And like it's crazy to me because all it would take is just a flip of a switch, and so many people I think would be so fucked up, myself included, bro. Like,
yeah, bro, for real.
Well, how do we socialize, bro? What do we like? How do you connect? Like, because like social media has made us so much more connected virtually, but I feel like so much more deconnected and so much more isolated physically.
Yeah, it sucks, man. I genuinely think that Instagram and Facebook have been the biggest reason why people have mental health, that struggle with mental health stability. I don't even call it an issue, right? Because I have found myself that like when I get, and I don't like to say this, I don't think anybody does, right? But I think everybody goes through this phase of like depression, right? Or anxiety. I don't like saying that because I used to say like, oh, depression is a choice. And yeah, to an extent it is, right? Because you choose your feelings, you choose your thoughts, and thoughts lead to emotions, emotions lead to actions, right? But I think people do get depressed. I think there is some sort of something that happens in people's life that causes negative emotions, negative thoughts which lead to negative emotions. And then the easiest thing to go to is comfort food, comfort people, right? If you're a man or a woman, you choose the opposite sex, you hit them up, right? Just because you feel like some sort of physical touch is going to fix that. Or you go to Instagram, or you go swipe right on Tinder, you go to Facebook, and people don't focus on like the root. They're just focusing on, it's like a drug, it's like if you're messed up, it's like you have a headache because you're dehydrated and you don't drink water, you pop a Tylenol. It's kind of like that's how I've realized, that's how I caught myself doing those things, is when I get into like this low. That doesn't happen as much anymore now because I'm much more aware of my thoughts now.
It's but perspective too, because like, yeah, I agree with you that like there is nobody on earth that doesn't experience, in relative comparison to previous states of mind, low states of mind. It is just how worth works, like frequencies, they vibrate high and low, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I think I had to add this in there, is like, it's your perspective of it. It's like, do you see those lows as like progressive higher lows in going towards a goal? If you have an aim and a means and you're working towards something, hopefully, yes. But, and I think we have to touch on that because that's helped me so much in just overcoming this stability issue, of emotions, of state of mind, is having that aim and focus. But yeah, I mean, the people who like, if you see it, it's just one way too, just labeling it. That's why I found with all mental illness and all like this sort of topic is like, your mind is such a good tool, but it can also be, you can also use it against yourself by trying to label your condition. Like, oh, yeah, I'm depressed. So now because I'm depressed, it's a justification. It's a belief system you've not just created for yourself that like you will always fall back into, or you say something else about yourself, whatever you want to call yourself. Those kind of labels I swear, like if you wanted to, you could label every single person in the world with a mental illness. And if you get them to believe it, then that's my point. It's like that's the game over. It's like you believe what you believe. In mental illness, you believe you're healthy or you believe you're sick, and you have to make that choice. Like if you've experienced the instability, which we've all have, you have to make the choice. I mean, what are some of the things that you've kind of made choices on or like done to like help your instability?
Dude, I deleted social media off my phone. Like
Nice.
for real. Like I won't delete the account. I'll just take the app off my phone.
Okay.
Because it's instant dude. And to me, instant gratification has been the reason why I fall into these negative states, because when I feel like I'm not getting results right away, I feel like I'm actually not where I'm supposed to be. I'm my biggest critic. So like I'm my own, it's all perception, right? I'm the only reason why I get into these negative states. And again, it doesn't happen very often at all anymore because I'm now aware of that. But first thing has been just taking the app off my phone, like restricting myself physically from whatever takes my mind into comparison or into judgment of myself. That's been the first one. Another thing too is like growing spiritually, like I've been and we talked about this, right? I've been on the journey for a little minute now of just like finding a good and a close relationship with God. So like I feel like being vulnerable to source is important. Whenever you feel like something is not going your way or your direction, just being vulnerable to source, because and asking for a sign, praying I think is important, however you do it or where everybody does it. Those are like kind of like my two things. But then the third one is going outside, bro.
Oh yeah.
As simple as that sounds, like I love my dog because like she makes me go outside. And
every day.
during quarantine, bro, like during COVID, like there was no going outside at all. Like I was stuck inside all day. Even the year after, right? I got her last year. So even last year, like I was out more. I noticed like, oh wow, the sun makes me happy. What a coincidence. Like
yeah.
I think a lot of people are stuck inside. They go home, they go to work, or they wake up, they go to work, then they come home, and then they're at work. They maybe go to the grocery store, and then they go watch a little TV, go to sleep.
Yeah.
And it's like the same routine. They don't ever go outside, enjoy themselves, physical activity, stuff like that. Just simple stuff. What about you?
Yeah, lots of things, like just like the daily maintenance of the mind and the spirit, meditating, reading. I'm not extremely disciplined on those things as I would like to be, but the older I get, the better I get with that. The older I get, the more I do those things, the more enjoyable I find them as well. They used to be chores, like things I had to do because I know they were like good for me. But generally now I'm like taking my time, just releasing and detaching from like you have to do this, Jordan. This is like, would you want to do that? That seems like it would help out. Yeah, that's a good idea. And yeah, things like that. And then like the biggest thing, Brian, is just like, for me, it's just like having that overarching like goal, like having that purpose in life, because dude, that's the thing I found myself not having for such a long time that makes it fucking difficult to like, get up, give a fuck, like, because you don't have that. You're like, whatever, man, doesn't matter, just rolling with this shit. So yeah, having that, man, it's like, and constantly redefining that, like focusing more and more and more on that, building that, for me, that's just like starting a family, having that responsibility as a father. Like that's something that it's impacted me a lot in my life, with just my relationships with that growing up as a kid, how much it like molded me into the person I am today. So like, that's my big thing I want to do going forward. So yeah, having that vision in my head and reminding myself of that, like, okay, are my actions to date in line with that, or what I'm doing with that? And that can snap me out pretty quick. It's like, you feeling like shit. It's like, well, what about that big important thing? That's the thing for me that kicks me in the butt, that like, but of course we all go through it. And then just the other thing is just like, when you're in it and you're recognizing, you're aware of it, it's like, yep, snapping yourself out of the perspective that you're depressed or that you're in a downward spiral, and just like being patient with yourself, bro. Like kind of releasing, detaching, like you said, connecting the spirit not imposing things on yourself that you have to do, being nice to yourself, bro. Because sometimes I think it's like there's always that attitude of like to change or to do things, you have to be that Swiss kick in the ass like mentality of like, this is how you fix it. You put someone on their fucking ass and they figure it out, right? It's like, well, yeah, that approach works in certain situations, but not all of them, you know? So it's like, if you want to do that to yourself all the time for your whole life, it might be pretty difficult. I used to be like that to myself. So it's like being easier with myself for sure has been a huge help in my mental health.
Do you think it's easier for women to cope with like mental health than we're like to better their mental health, I guess, than it is for men to?
That's I'm not sure what we're entirely asking. Like,
Like,
I think that's an interesting point, which is like feminism and masculinism right now, especially like things that are going on. But
like for example, let's say that, okay, perfect example, right? Two couples, right? They both split, and in one scenario, the man is heartbroken, and the other scenario, the woman is heartbroken. Who is it easier? For whom is it easier to deal with that? Do you think?
oh, I don't know if there's an answer to that one. I don't think there is, because like that's, I can paint it from the point of view of mine point of view as being a man, right? It's like, you know, I think when a man really gets like heartbroken, you know, it's like they can harden up, you know, happened to me. Like, you know, you harden up, you're like, hey, I'm letting everyone do that to me. You can't. You know, like, and then like the next one, it becomes the process of like reopening up, because like, yeah, man, everyone deals with it different. I can't speak on how women deal with it, but I find that women, from my perspective, it looks like it's easier for them. You know? But that could also be entirely not true. If you ask one of them, you know, I couldn't answer
Yeah, we
that.
need
What
women.
do you think on that?
I mean, I was thinking women, because women, I feel like, are a little bit more vulnerable than men. Like,
Yeah.
not, I don't easily talk about things that I'm thinking or feeling, you know. So, and I feel like women do. I feel like women are okay with telling each other like what happens the night before, like tomorrow morning, you
All
know.
details too.
Yeah, and to
You know,
me, it's like, no.
I was telling Angie about, it's like, we know what men do. We objectify things. We just do, like, everything, bro. We paint it into like simple little boxes, put it into
Yeah,
metaphors. And it's like, I told her, like, you know what? I don't know. I'm the spitballing here, so don't hate me, women. But like, men, we do not mean to objectify women. It's just kind of how we are. We just like to make things simple, easy,
yeah,
right? And so it's like what we do with our emotions and our feelings. It's like we objectify them. You don't like talk about them in vivid color, because it's like it's easier to just to be like, yeah, it was just like that, you know? Just
yeah.
like,
Facts.
oh yeah, that was no big deal, bro. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And then, you know, what's funny is because you go to your friends that you know are going to agree with you, that
Mhm.
to whatever it is that you just are justifying in your own head, so
Yeah.
that you get the double justification that it's not a big deal. And then you're like,
100%.
oh yeah, forget it. You know, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, no big deal, man. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? Why are you
It's
tripping, bro? Yeah,
it's so
it's just
interesting.
that. It's just that thing we objectified it into. It's just that simple little box. That's not a big deal. Don't worry about that box, man.
Yeah, and then you just put it away to the side, put it in the corner. You know, they say,
Yeah.
like, I think I mentioned this. I don't remember if we were recording why I mentioned this, but like women's brain are like wires. You know, it's just like interconnected, and everything that they think about is just like they're able to piece everything together. And then men's brains are like buckets. It's like everything is sectioned out. So we're thinking
Yeah.
about cats. We only thinking about cats, but thinking about cats, like women are thinking about cats, and the one cat they saw 13 years ago during the summer at their friend's house when they were wearing this, and it's just like, how do you remember that, you know? So it's interesting. Well, I had a question on ego, right? Going back to this like men and women things. I think mental health in general has a lot to do with ego. Do you think that ego is like, okay, so rephrase the question, how big do you think ego plays in somebody's suffering in mental health?
Everything. Like, this is now my brain. You since the second you asked that question, I just went academia and just like pulled out Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chakra. It's like all these guys talk about is like the fact that your ego needs to compare. It needs to like observe, compare, put labels. This is better than that. I'm better than this. This person looks better than this person. you know, and your ego is so thirsty for that sort of like action, you know, that causes you suffering, right? It's the comparison, it's the thief of joy. And it's like the absence of the ego is just presence, which has no suffering, you know, like what's going on? What's wrong right now? Like really ask yourself right now, where are you at? Wherever you're listening to this right now, right here, what's wrong? Nothing. We're chilling, baby.
Facts.
Right. But your ego, listen to your ego. As soon as that question's over, your ego's like, well, I gotta go buy a black shirt. I gotta go work out. I gotta get some food for a picnic later tonight. You know, my ego creates all these problems. So like, yeah, of course, 100% ego is really the root of suffering, like is the root of mental health. And when you have an egocentric society, everything's about you, how you look, put yourself on Instagram, make a video of your face, saying this stuff, get a bunch of likes, get a bunch of comments. You know, it's like this sort of influencer based economy that we've created now where everyone, you gotta be something. You know, it's like, it really puts that strain mentally on, I think, a lot of people.
Dude, you know, that's such a big impactful moment for me in my life when I realized like I have control over my own like projection of what's happening, right? Because I read The Power of Now and I realized like ego is something that it can be used as good and bad. If you let it kind of overpower you just kind of flow through it because it's subconscious. But when you become aware of it, you can control it and you can choose like, no, this is not who I am. This is not this is not who I'm choosing to be. And it's just so blissful, bro.
It is. And I think that's the paradigm change we're living in the world. It's like people who are focused on building things based on ego. It's the past model. That was successful, bro. Like Michael Jordan's the king of that.
Yeah.
I'm fucking better than you. Like that is Michael Jordan. And he was the best. Everyone, I love it. Don't we all love him? He was that dude and he won. He never lost. How could you can't question him? He's the best. That was the old model. The new model is like building out a contribution and community with no ego, with no, I'm the creator of this. Satoshi Nakamoto. Who doesn't take any credit. No credit. That's the new system. It's like build without recognition.
Facts. Okay, here's another question that I think I hear this from a lot of people, right? Shout out to all the people that have the capability of being vulnerable with others, right? I don't know if anybody's ever told you this. I'm sure they have. It's very common how people address that they're having mental health issues. You're a savage for drinking C4. That stuff makes me jittery, bro. Anyway, feeling lost. I don't know if anybody's ever told you, like, I just feel lost. Like, I just feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know who I am. Like, have you ever heard that before? Was anybody ever? Yeah. Have you ever been there before?
Yeah.
Okay. So two questions, and I'll answer it myself as well, but throwing it to you, like, how do you help someone get out of that? Number one, and then how did you get out of that?
I'm gonna throw the fucking super trippy, bro. Where you're always gonna be last, bro. What the fuck are we doing here? You never know. Get used to it. Like, you know, and it's like you have to really realize the things that you can control and the things you can't control. That's my answer to that. Because if you focus on the things you can't control, you'll be lost forever. And guess what? Those things will always be there. And that soup will always be saucy. Just learn to swim in it, bro. and focus on the things that you can control, because that will give you direction and like clarity and a sense of control. Right? The things you can control are your daily habits, you know, going to the gym, reading, working out, meditating. That's things for me. When I'm in control of those things and I get those things done, I feel great. Those are things I can control. The things I can't control, the government, the world, the bank, Federal Reserve, you know, all that shit going on, I can't control that stuff. So if I focus on it, like, I'm gonna get lost in the fucking sauce. Yeah. So I gave the really real answer of like, dude, you can't control everything, and some things you will always be lost on, because a lot of these big metaphysical things, bro, none of us know what the hell we're doing. We're all just here, just trying to figure it out, right? So anybody that pretends that they do not know what's going on, they're lying. But what's your answer to that one?
Dude, when people say that they're lost, I try to be a little comical about it. I say, well, you better find yourself, right? But I think the easiest way to find yourself is to really find out who you're not.
Ooh,
because like, for example, right, my whole life I've been a pretty chubby guy, right? Ever since I was little, like I've been a pretty chubby guy, and I realized like when I'm not physically in good shape, I don't function well logically, biologically, right? That's just how it works. If you're fat, you're not going to work well. And I realized like, okay, this is not who I am. So why am I choosing to overeat, to do just stuff that isn't who I am? So like, I think that when somebody like feels this way, like, damn, I'm lost. Like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. You mentioned something super, super important, which was like purpose, right? Like you have found your purpose. That's the most difficult thing to do is find your purpose. But I think a general purpose for everybody listening is just serve people. Like if the Bible says, when you go to heaven, hopefully, God will say, great job, good and faithful servant, right? Like that's kind of like a general purpose everybody can task on until that purpose creates a calling, and then your calling is then, kind of so to speak, becomes your purpose. But how I've got out of it is just like kind of what you said, one thing that's helped me out so much is a paper and a pen, and then just go to town writing what I'm feeling, because I think our brain is so filled with stuff that when we take it out, we are able to see from the outside looking in, and then we go and we see, wow, I didn't even realize that I was feeling like this. I didn't even realize that this was something that was happening in my head. You go back and read it and you're like, I feel so much better simply because it was occupying it was occupying space. It was occupying real estate in your head without any rent. You take it out, boom, it's open. Now you're open to receiving. So I think that's been super, super big for me, is like how I've been able to find myself. I feel like I was lost for a while, not knowing what I wanted to do with my life, not knowing what I think everybody struggles with that, bro. Like there's no class. There's no class for that. There's no book that you can read that's going to tell you how to live your life, where, important decisions, where you're going to live, who you're going to marry, right? Like what you're going to do for the rest of your life, your career choice, like that shit's hard. And then we go to Instagram and we see everybody flying private jets, right? Perfect
figured out.
Perfect butts, perfect titties, like super like flexed out, drippy, just like diamonds. And it's like, wow, like I want his life, I want her life. I want, and then it's like, well, I'm not here. I'm making $30,000 a year. It's like, what's happening? It's like, you just take all that stuff out of your head. And then I feel like something clicks inside your brain when you feel like you take yourself out. I think the psychologist, I don't know who it was, but like self-looking glass. You know who I'm talking about?
No, I've not heard that before.
It's like you take yourself out of, like, think of you in the corner of the room that you're in right now, looking at you. It's like, and then it's like being aware of that. That's like how you can evolve.
Yeah, it's like, gaining that perspective, getting outside yourself. I think, taking the thoughts out of your head and putting them on paper, brilliant. Like how you put that, brilliant, bro. It's brilliant.
I think that's important for a lot of people, and I think it's tough. A lot of people, what inspired this conversation was the person that is struggling through mentally is lost somebody, right? Or multiple people. So that's a tough one. I know that when I lost a friend in last year, it was tough, man. I was like spiraled down because I'd never experienced death. So sensitive topic here, but like, how would you, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but like, how would you cope with that other than knowing death is nothing but a transition?
That's hard, man. It's really hard. I'm not the most qualified person. I've been blessed. I haven't had one close to me, but I have one like on the horizon coming. It's like someone really, like, it's going to be the hardest challenge of my life. Honestly, it's like already making me emotional thinking about it. It's like, dude, it's like you have to, it's the ultimate thing. So it's such a crazy topic to talk about in this reality, because there's not words that are adequate. There just aren't, because it's final, bro. It's like, for what we can perceive and say, and so you want to put words on it beyond that, it's like, well, bro, you're still in the 3D trying to talk about something outside the 3D.
Thanks.
So I mean, yeah, for what I'm doing right now with this person, I'm just grateful for the time I have with them and the state that they're in. You know, I'm referring to my grandpa. He's got Alzheimer's. It's like, I think that's one of the worst fucking things, man. It's like, because physically they're there, but like mentally, spiritually, it's already like a great reduction of who he was. And it's like, at one point, is there even like, but yeah, that's it. It's a Alzheimer's is such a sad thing, man.
Yeah.
I don't wish upon anybody to like lose your mind, to lose that um your persona, your personality. But dude, to go through it and like experience it, honestly, it's coming for me. I know it is, and all I'm thinking about is just like the gratitude, bro, the love, just like what he was, who he is, and how I can like honor that, you know. And that's kind of what ties into my purpose. I want to bring it full circle. It's like, dude, it's the shit that really hurts you, that really fucking stings, that like makes you emotional and makes you like tear up, seize up. That's that dude, your purpose, your like calling in the world is hidden in that shit, bro. It's hidden in that shit. Like anything that fucking fucks you up, like emotionally, dude, there's gold there. There's gold there. You know, I know for me, and I think about him, it makes me emotional because my grandpa basically was like my father figure growing up, you know, and so like losing him is it's gonna be really tough for me. Like that was my dude. Like my original dad bailed on me, bro. Like I had a tough relationship with my second one, and so it's like he was my father figure, and like losing him, and that's why I want to be such a good dad. Like that's my only thing. Like that's my purpose, bro. It's like I just want to be a fucking awesome dad, you know, like because I think the world really, really needs that. And I really needed that. So that's what fucking motivates me, excites me. Is like that gets me going, and that's what like that's my take on that. You know, it's like that deep, painful shit, bro. That's where you find the fucking drive and the energy to do some good shit is in that pain.
Yeah.
You know? But
Thanks.
what about for you, man? Like, how was how was the experience? I guess I know it was. That's a weird way of putting it. I'm
Tough,
sorry,
bro.
but dude, yeah, just walk us through your thoughts and like what you went through, how you got through
Bro,
it.
it was tough, man. It was probably the probably the toughest thing like I've experienced because it's like the number one thing that I'm scared of, you know,
Mm,
like I'm scared to die, as
yeah.
crazy as that sounds, because I don't know. I don't know what happens, you know, like you don't know what's gonna happen, you know. Um, but like I also realized that like okay, so when I got the call, bro, I was literally like, I was not in a very good position, like in any aspect of my life when I got the call, and it was so just like crazy because I didn't even know like this guy was my best friend, right? He like first or second friend I ever made since I immigrated to the US. Like this guy like lived in my neighborhood, like I grew up with him. First time I ever smoked weed with him, like just like it was just that homie, you know?
Mhm.
And it was crazy because we were supposed to kick it on Saturday and he passed on Tuesday. So yeah, it was nuts. And somebody on Facebook had messaged me a screenshot of his brother posting on his Facebook timeline, letting everybody know that he had passed. And I called his brother. I was like, dude, are you serious? Like, or is he okay? Like, maybe they just haven't found him, or like, cause he does some stupid shit. And he's like, no, yeah, so I was like, there was this feeling in my stomach that felt like I had no guts. Like it felt like there was just an empty body for like solid like 30 minutes. I just didn't know. I went inside, I was crying. I told my brother and sister, like I grew up with them. So like they knew him as well.
Of
And just
course,
came,
yeah.
they just like hugged me. And it was just so tough, bro. The funeral was very tough. I've never seen you know, somebody's physically there, but not there. So that was really, really tough. But what really helped me get through it was understanding that somebody may pass, somebody may not be here anymore physically, but they're always here spiritually.
Mhm.
He had this little brother, right? And he was adopted. And so his adopted mom, is a very, very, very good woman. She adopts kids whose mothers have had problems with drug addiction. So he had this little brother, right? Adopted brother. And he was in this, dude, the whole funeral, bro. He was in such a good mood. And I'm over here like struggling for my life, you know? And he did this little guy. He's just like so happy playing with the basketball. And I was like shedding a tear, and he's just like, don't be sad. He's like, he's right here. And I was like, wow, bro,
Yeah.
like that's deep. So that was what helped me the most. It was that little boy, his little brother, right? That was just like, he comprehended something that I couldn't, faster than what I could possibly perceive, and I think that was the biggest thing for me, is understanding like mentally. And then, what was awesome was that right after that happened, like all of a sudden I just kind of I surrendered. That was like the second step to my like spiritual journey. I like surrendered to like source, and I was like, yo, like help me out here, because now this is probably the worst thing that could have happened after, and this was last year, so we're talking about mental health. Like, I'm doing so much better than I was a year ago. Yeah, a year ago. He passed in June. Yeah, so a year ago, late June. Crazy. But it was just like that surrender, and then right after that, just things just started kind of clicking for me, like everything just started doing really, really good. So I think for anybody that's lost, or is kind of coping with that, it's just like understanding that surrender number one is bliss, cause suffering is self-inflicted, and then number two, like sensitive topic, but like death is nothing but a transition. Bob Proctor said birth and death are the same thing.
Yeah.
Just in a different
yeah.
Transfer
of consciousness from one reality to another.
Yeah. But it's tough, man, because I think that a lot of people aren't okay with talking about things like this. And, men and women that grow up, boys and girls that grow up neglected, end up finding whatever neglect, or end up searching for whatever neglect they lacked in childhood. And then that's what makes them weak. That's what puts people through tough mental tough situations, is that they go look, as young adults, we go look for things that we were missing in our childhood. And so that causes mental instability, because you're like, well, I wanted that and I got it, but it actually set me back further than what I was.
Yeah, dude, that's journey of your 20s, man. It's like discovering yourself. I like the way you put it, figuring out who you're not,
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about this the whole time you were talking about that. That was, bro, my hairs were standing up. But the night is darkest before the dawn.
Facts. Yeah. Something that you said too, like you don't learn anything in comfort. Everything
pain.
Yeah. Sucks. That's why you get huge.
Dude, but it's at the same time, now we can flip this whole conversation, because, bro, this is one thing I've fucking learned and developed, and it's, oh man, it gets me fucking going, because, dude, pain. The more fucking pain you take, the more pain you can withstand. That just, to me, increases your ability to grow. The people who can't take pain aren't able to grow as much, so, bro, like, I've been through it, bro, man. I mean, haven't we fucking all? And it's like, we could go on and on about stories, shitty things that happened to us, but like, bro, at the end of the day, it's like, that's the fucking fuel. You gotta transfuse that shit. That's the fuel, and shit, maybe you've been hurting for a long time, bro. Guess what? You got a lot of fucking fuel to burn then.
Facts.
Because those people, bro, those people that have been buried for a minute, those motherfuckers you gotta watch out for.
Facts.
Those are the people capable of doing anything, man.
Yeah, facts.
It's all your perspective.
As long as you don't give up. Because that's so easy to, bro. Well, yeah, I agree. I think it's a great way to like kind of wrap things up, bro. If you give up, it's over. You'll end up homeless, depressed, psychotic. Like, you'll end up in a very, very dark, bad situation in your life. No love, no abundance. Like, it'll just be dark. And the enemy would have gotten 100% control of you. By the enemy, I just like the opposition, right? But if you are able to crawl out of that, because you're right, bro. When like you're just at rock bottom, you're like, you know what? Let me get my ass up.
Only way is up, baby.
and then let me just grind, and then crazy things start happening. It's like all of a sudden 0 to 100, real quick.
Just a fucking flip of a switch, bro. Like
Yeah.
literally a flip of fucking switch. Just like sick of fucking feeling this way. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Sick of fucking feeling like this every damn day.
The guy
Do something
finally
about it.
It's like Jim Rohn says, right? It's the guy finally takes a shotgun to his car.
Yeah.
I don't want to live like this anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's insane, man. It's like that moment, that one day when you're just like, this is it. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Let me get my ass to work. Boom. And that's what happens. And I think everybody has that ability to do that, not live as a victim, but be as a victor,
Mhm.
versus like, I'm not going to let these circumstances, these situations fuck me over. I'm going to get up and I'm going to run it.
Real shit, man.
I'm going to run the play.
Shit.
It's a sensitive topic, bro. And it's like kind of tough to talk about without getting like personal and just like vulnerable about it, which
Mhm.
I think is super important. But I think for anybody that did tune in, right, it's important to know that everybody goes through their shit, regardless of Instagram is just a resume. It's the sexiest resume that you will ever see for people, and it's not nearly, life is not nearly
Not even
like that.
close.
Not even close. Yeah, even the most perfect person, even Kim Kardashian's, right? Kardashians, I bet you she's going through some shit, even though it might look like she's.
That's what I'm saying, man. At the end of the day, you could have everything, bro. That's what Chris Rock and Johnny Depp just proved to the world. It's like you could have everything, bro. The movie contracts, the cars, the houses, the model wives, the red carpets. Everybody in the world knows who you are. Everybody loves you. But if you ain't right inside here first, none of that matters, man. None of that matters. Because that inner peace, bro, that inner, like, we're good. That ain't right, bro. Nothing else matters. You gotta get that right first,
Facts. To wrap it up, bro, to either book, podcast, resource that people can use to work on themselves.
Power of Now. The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle. The that book. It's that book, bro. It is that book for me. Yeah, that's the most powerful and transformative book I ever read. I gotta reread it now because it's like we just literally, this whole conversation was like really on point with that book. And then I'll put out 4 Agreements.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's good.
Yeah, those 2. What about you,
man? I would say Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
Oh, that one's like the guide, step by step guide.
Joe Dispenza is very technical with it. And then shit, man, I would have to say the Bible. I don't read it. I haven't read it, right?
Okay.
Well, I haven't read it cover to cover, but from the parts that I have read, I've read like 5 or 6 books total. But I annotated, study it. It's got some bars in there.
Yeah.
It's a great book. Jim Rohn says it too, man. Shout out Jim Rohn. He's a beast.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible is a great way to it's like a great manual, for things. It's been around for hundreds and thousands of years. So it's a good way to kind of like start connecting and surrendering. It's helped me a lot, just like little verses, maybe 3-4 words, that people tattoo worthy on their body, but that's what's so impactful.
That's the like the very simple things. I'm gonna just throw this in there. If you want the fucking full send crazy, like go move to a foreign country. That's it.
Damn.
That will fucking change your mental health forever. In a good way, trust me. Done it a few times. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I gotta do that. I'm gonna move to Mexico. Shit. This podcast makes me want to do stuff, bro. Like last week.
I'm saying, bro, that's why I gotta go to the gym now. Like every time I'm off this podcast too, I'm like, bro, I could go lift the freaking world.
Yeah, facts. I love it, bro. I love it. Well, thanks for showing up again, bro. I appreciate you. Much love to you, bro. We're gonna run it up next week.
Much love to our audience, man. Love you guys. Appreciate all you guys' support.
Facts. Much love to you guys. Next week we got some saucy cooking up. We got a special guest. Not gonna tell you who it is, but tune in next week for another saucy episode of Public Comments.